move on to next presenter, Dr. J.S. Rajpurohit, and he is a scholar. He is a scholar with 37 years experience with the Indian Army, or soldier. Scholar with 37 years experience with the Indian Army in operations management, strategic leadership, behavioral sciences and resource management. Led multiple military delegations abroad on management studies, tours, and was negotiated in UN mission in Cambodia. He is an administrator and management expert. He is a visiting faculty to large number of military, civil and corporate industries. So he is a person from very unique background. So we always have highest regard to our army, and he's serving that in his capacity. So he is going to present on unconsciously conscious matrix of happiness.
Namaskar, Jai Hind. Can you hear me all?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Om Tat Sat. When you talk of a life as such, a life without a smile, we all say is no life. A life, if you are fully conscious and are so deep rooted in the consciousness that you at times get separated from the real world life, physicality of life. Now in this physicality of life, when you look at yourself, you look at the bigger aspects of consciousness, unconsciousness, Brahman and beyond, you find that you are not even a speck in the overall universe. So despite being that smallest particle in the speck, we all still live. And we all have one life to live. And in this one life, if you and me can make it work, I think that's the best way we can enjoy our life. And I'm going to focus exactly on that, leaving aside the bigger parts of the consciousness, unconscious and beyond that we have heard over the last 3 days. It is indeed a privilege for me to be participating in this August gathering, galaxy of scientists and philosophers, the modern seers and sages, and I bow you all for your blessings, for your goodwill to the society. Thank you all. I am a soldier. All my life I have been fighting either Pakistanis or the Chinese, and for me to get into the philosophical aspects is a different world altogether. And when I say one life happiness, I straightway related to a pure practitioner of life, where in my particular case, death was always hanging. One bullet, one wrong move, and your life ends. The rest of the things you can imagine. And therefore, you really have to survive, that one single bullet. And to enjoy that moment where you survive the bullet, and you strike the enemy so that you and his career, his profession, his life, that's the only sole aim. Do you call that happiness? I put a question mark for all of us to ponder over. With that, let me get into the topic per se. We've had very, very serious discussions, and I had the opportunity of enjoying this today. Thank you all so much for this experiential learning. And I extend my sincere, humble gratitude to INADS and Kuruom School of Advanced Sciences for inviting me. Thank you so much, Professor Balram sir and Dr. Rajkumar and your team of experts which has really handled it so well. Let me go to my simple presentation to share some things that I wish to. Okay. Can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Please, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So let's begin with with such heavy doses before me. I attempt to keep it very, very light. Number two, we are already past the tea time, and we should have actually gone into the discussion and the panel. So with that time constraint and still remaining happy, I shall be happy to reduce my time scale if so desired. Otherwise, my 30 odd minutes will take us to little longer. I intend to cover my topic under these following headings. I will go into the physicality of our happiness, the psychology of happiness, the technology part and the consciousness and the technology and the experiences and experiments conducted by the scientists that we enjoyed learning. Leaving that aside, I'll just focus on a little bit on the technology and how it impacts our happiness. And then finally, how does our rhythm or the connect between the happiness and the mind, conscious, unconscious, and so on. With that timer, with the rough frame, I shall go with my presentation. When you look at the overall world, we said universe, prakriti, what was there even before human being was there, what was there even before any life came on earth. That sound of Om or nothingness that existed, that's the beginning of our life. That's the beginning from all Dashavatars that have come forward till date. And from that, by the time human beings came in, the essential aspects of we being thoughtful creatures, we being having emotions, we being having ability to analyze all aspects and then live a life. And then all along this entire life, we have had our Vedantic Siddhantas, we have had our inner consciousness, knowledge system, the Indian knowledge system that has given us host of ways and means to enjoy this one life. And I will cover only a little bit part of it. We all know Triguna and Posha. I'll attempt to read them a little with the happiness. When we come to physicality of life, you really say that when you live today's life, you're not living in the Vedic era. Somehow at times we tend to miss on the meat. We are living in today's world. What Professor Gopinath said, Kali Yuga. And this is the best aspect when you can reach moksha the fastest. So a concept that existed in Vedic era, the environment and the time frame and the work culture was very different. The work culture with the kind of science and advances is very different. Your and my life, besides being in the seminar and talking about consciousness and happiness, we have so many goals, objectives and targets in our life. And when you and me are discussing today, imagine the kind of tasks that are going in your and my mind even when I'm speaking and you are listening. So these all impact our lives. And ultimately, the mullah works. Health is the best, but mullah is the next. We all say, पहला सुख निरोगी काया, दूजा सुख हो घर में पाया. It has also come from our scriptures. So this Maya part, which has been so ably expressed earlier by Professor R.P. Sir and many others, is said that this is an essential part of our life, that we want to be most comfortable. Now this is a little contrasting to what our seers, rishis and others said, that you live a saintly life. How long, yeah? Alright, you can do your penance, tapasya, education, fulfill your life in most comfortable manner, even in a jungle. But can you do it sitting on a sofa in a comfortable AC environment? Because that is the order of the day. Does it match anywhere with our consciousness, with our Vedic life and the modern life? We have a question mark to rethink. And if there are contrasting views, we need to work on it. That even today, in today's life, being most comfortable, we've got the physicality. Let us connect it with the happiness. And happiness alone is not, I repeat, not the comfort aspect, not the physical aspects of life, but much more. So if you can combine the two, I think that would be a good factor. Then, hygiene and contextual factors. The management gurus of the modern world, last 500 years, they've all said that out of the two major factors that draws motivation in individual are either hygiene factors or the inner factors, inner contextual factors. That are you working for your physical comforts or you working for your inner happiness context? Now, of the two, whichever you focus on, you will find happiness in those cases. And in any case, you got to draw a balance between your job and your life. Your individual life for achieving moksha, perfection, and so on, whereas you and me live in a society. And the society demands you to be a working man. Not that Vedic era did not have this kind of work-life balance. They did have, but a different kind of work pattern existed. Now the work pattern is so highly complicated, complex, mechanical and technology oriented, wherein the fastness, the running pace of life is too fast, and when you really have to balance it out, I think we have a lot of scientists here who live in the most complex technical environment and yet are able to balance their personal lives, their social lives so extremely well. And therefore, in modern world, what we need to understand are the contours of our work life and our personal lives, and then draw a very, very fine balance to move a step towards happiness. Now, when you consider the personal and the social aspects, the psychological aspects stay with us. You need to live with that. And the psychological dimensions are as strong as your social dimensions. Because the social dimensions also affect your and my physical and mental health. And unless mental health is strong, all other things can rest. Let me remind you that story of before Dharma Yuddha. जब भगवान कृष्ण के पास दुर्योधन और अर्जुन दोनों हेल्प मांगने गए थे, मदद मांगने गए, and Duryodhan reached first. भगवान कृष्ण सो रहे थे, so he found a cushion next to Lord Krishna's head and settled down on that cushion. Says दुर्योधन है, भगवान के सिर के पास में बैठे हैं, अब जब भगवान उठेंगे तो उनसे मांगेंगे। युद्ध तो होना ही था और ये धर्म युद्ध था। कुछ समय बाद जब अर्जुन पहुंचे तो सिर की तरफ भी बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन थे बैठने के लिए, लेकिन उन्होंने चुना कि मैं भगवान के चरणों की तरफ खड़ा होऊंगा, हाथ जोड़ करके खड़ा होऊंगा। जब भगवान कृष्ण की नींद खुली तो वो देखते हैं क्या अर्जुन कैसे आए हो? कहते भगवान मदद मांगने आए, धर्म युद्ध होने वाला, इस युद्ध में आपकी मदद चाहिए। कृष्ण ने बोला मांगो, क्या मांगते हो? तो दुर्योधन कहता है नहीं कृष्ण, मैं पहले आया था, मैं बड़ा हूं, आप पहले मांगने का हक मुझे है। कृष्ण कहते हैं मैंने तो पहले कृष्ण को देखा था और फिर मैंने पहले अर्जुन को देखा था, और अर्जुन छोटा भी तो है ना, मांगने दो, मांगो क्या मांगते हो? अर्जुन ने कहा भगवान मुझे आप चाहिए। ये स्टोरी मेरे ख्याल से हम सबको मालूम है। अब दुर्योधन ने जब ये सुना तो वो तो बहुत खुश हो गया कि कृष्ण को लेके क्या करेगा, और जब दुर्योधन से पूछा तो कहता है भगवान मुझे तो आप अपनी नारायणी सेना दे, 10 लाख, वो नारायणी सेना मिल जाए तो। और दुर्योधन मन ही मन सोचता है कि ये क्या मूर्ख है, अर्जुन क्या मांग रहा है। You see, this socio-psychological dimension between the two have impacted their even demanding what they want, and what is the happiness level in demanding what they are looking for, and both got what they wanted. जब दुर्योधन चले गए तो कृष्ण पूछते हैं रुको सखा, तुमने मुझे क्यों चुना, ये सेना क्यों नहीं, इतनी बड़ी सेना? कहता है भाई सखा, जिसके साथ कृष्ण हो उसकी तो जीत निश्चित है। और कृष्ण ने बोला तथा। That is where the social dimension impacts your and my life. And when we all understand and know that ultimately it is your and my thought process that impacts our life, that impacts your emotions, that impacts your attitude, and that impacts your behavior. And therefore, the slightest of thought that comes to our mind, we analyze this and maybe we react to it. A smile or a frowning face is only an expression of what we are thinking. And there are thousands of thoughts which are coming into our mind. And therefore, which one out of the entire set of thoughts which are coming I select will decide my physicality of happiness, my sense of happiness. उनमें से मैं क्या चुनता हूं वो मेरा खुशी या दुख बताएगा. एरिस्टोटल ने कहा था, dominance of pleasure over pain is what will bring you to happiness. So in this case, when you do a psychoanalytical modeling and you realize that your perception draws out of all the inputs of all the thoughts, your analysis and the output. This output is what will decide your physical state of happiness. This will also decide the type of conflicts that you and me will undergo, whether within own self or with the other people outside in the world. And that is how the overall context of happiness will revolve around. It's a chittam prasanne bhuvanam prasannam. We all know. Chitte vishnai bhuvanam vishnam. If the mind is happy, the world seems happy. If the mind is despondent, the entire world seems despondent. So it all depends on what you and me think inwards. Think inside is reflected outside. Let me go to the next one. Next one, talking about the psychology of happiness. What I had shown you in the first slide is that happiness is an emotion like any other emotion. Whether sadness, surprise, fear, distress, they are all sets of emotions. So is happiness. गुस्सा उतना ही बड़ा इमोशन है जितना कि खुशी, और दोनों का असर उतना है. Now these are sets of emotions which come out of our own self thinking, self realization. तो बहुत दूर की बात है. Maslow's theory जो कहता है, or spiritualness, the self attainment or self actualization, which is the highest, goes through this entire process of physicality to socialization to understanding, awareness, and finally the awareness or the spiritualization. So a control over all sets of emotions and balancing them out would, I think, be a fair guess, and all the modern thinkers are accepting this. A child expresses his or her emotions in a very, very open manner. We are able to manage our emotions. We are able to control our emotions. हमें कहते हैं गुस्सा दिखाना नहीं, खुशी बहुत ज़्यादा दिखाना नहीं. As you go higher, play very, very balanced role. But are you not feeling those emotions inside? Yes, we do feel. Express करें ना करें, that's a separate part of it. What Aristotle had said, hedonia or eudaimonia, eudaimonia, what Professor Trevin had said in the morning, his analysis of brainwave, his analysis of global model, I will correlate to what he has said and extend it a little more. Instant happiness can be achieved by small sense of achievement. छोटी छोटी खुशियां मिलती हैं, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ, achievement होता रहेगा. लेकिन अगर long term happiness चाहिए, so it has to be an inner conscious call. Now what is this inner conscious call is something closer to consciousness, and if you can go beyond this to a soul level of soul and unconscious level, उस unconscious नेस्ट में चले जाओ जिसमें सारी दुनिया है, सारा ब्रह्मांड है, और उसके अंदर रहो. That's the blissful sense. That so many of our scholars mentioned this earlier. But to reach that level, is it possible? Is it physical? Yes, it is physical. आनंदमय कोश पहुंचने के लिए बहुत वक्त और बहुत परिश्रम लगता है. And if you can reach it, nothing like it. I'll give you another example. Or when they say that there's a theory which says, I know that I know it. एक चीज है जो मुझे मालूम है कैसे करना और मैं हासिल कर सकता हूँ. अगर हैप्पीनेस आपको मालूम है कैसे अचीव कर सकते हैं, excellent, wonderful. I know that I know this and I can get it. दूसरा है, I do not know that I know it. मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि मुझे मालूम है, किसी ने मुझे बताया, हनुमान जी वाली ताकत. Somebody tells me that I know it and you please apply and you will be able to achieve it. The third thing is, I know that I do not know a skill. I do not know that happiness exists. I do not know that there is a consciousness. अगर मुझे ये मालूम है कि मैं मेहनत कर सकता हूँ और उसको अचीव कर सकता हूँ. So the entire Vedantic philosophy is कर्म योग. कर्म करते जाओ, आपको कहते हैं फल की इच्छा न कर, लेकिन वो फल आपको इस जन्म में नहीं तो अगले जन्म में मिलेगा. पिछले जन्म के किए हुए कर्मों को आप इस जन्म में बेहतर बना सकते हो. यूडेमोनिया, that sense of long-term happiness and reaching towards moksha is filled. Then the third, I said, I know that I know it. I know that I do not know it. And the third line I said is, I do not know that I know it. So I just do not know, somebody tells me. And the fourth line, which relates possibly to consciousness and unconsciousness, is that I do not know that I do not know. इस संसार में इतनी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो मुझे पता ही नहीं है. मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि क्या क्या है, क्या क्या नहीं है. वो ब्रह्मांड इतना बड़ा है. So in this overall ambit of the entire Brahman, there's so many things which I do not know.
राजपुरोहित जी 5 मिनट बचा है.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. And therefore, the sense of happiness has to be both physical as well as psychological. The two cannot be separated. And therefore, our ancient philosophy very beautifully explains to us Satogun, Rajogun and Tamogun. I'll not go into details of this. We all know. So far as I am conscious that I can channelize my energies towards a positive cause, and if required as a soldier, if I have to kill, you may call it क्या तामसिक काम करता है यार, बट ये मेरा धर्म है. मैं हमारी चेयर को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ. अक्सर ने बोला कि एज ए सोल्जर the entire country respects the soldiers. लेकिन सोल्जर का काम क्या? किल, तामसिक. Where is that sense of happiness? You know, when you put all of these together, then karma pradhanam वाली बात चरितार्थ होती है, and we can put into this and bring to modernity to life and bring technology and happiness together. While physical and the psychological part is so very important, it is equally important to understand the existing technology. If somebody has a time, I have created a model called JSR, our techno model of leadership. कि अगर सफल बनना है, सफल सेज बनना है, सफल लीडर बनना है, सफल टीचर बनना है, जो भी बनना चाहते हैं, तो आजकल टेक्नोलॉजी के बिना नहीं बन सकते. मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूं किसी टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से. और इसको समझने के लिए, इसको हमारे वेदांतिक फिलॉसफी में डालने के लिए, इसको कॉन्शियसनेस अनकॉन्शियस के खांचे में ढालने के लिए और मुझे अपनी जिंदगी अच्छी बनाने के लिए इसकी अति आवश्यकता है. मंत्र और तंत्र की शक्ति हमने कभी देखी थी, लेकिन आज की तारीख में इस मंत्र के अलावा टेक्नोलॉजी की शक्ति पहचानने की जरूरत है. जो प्रोफेसर सेन गुप्ता बोल रहे थे, प्रोफेसर ट्रेविड बोल रहे थे, मैं उसको बताना चाहूंगा कि उसमें सेंस ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस है, सेंस ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस बेशक नहीं है, लेकिन मेरे कॉन्शियसनेस लेवल को बढ़ाने के लिए, मेरी खुशी को बढ़ाने के लिए उसको समझना और अप्लाई करना इज इक्वली एंड मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. And that brings me to the crux of my talk, wherein happiness in the present world, we need to understand a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. I receive the input from the entire world and I analyze this. जो मैंने thought की बात किया था, excuse me, और मेरे इस कॉन्शियस माइंड को अगर मैं शांत रह पाता हूँ, माइंडफुलनेस प्रैक्टिसेस कर पाता हूँ, योगिक एक्सरसाइजेस कर सकता हूँ, मेडिटेशन कर सकता हूँ, तो आई कैन मेंटेन माय लाइफ वेल कंट्रोल्ड विद इन माय सेल्फ. आई कैन अप्रोच टुवर्ड्स अ सेंस ऑफ हैप्पीनेस, टुवर्ड्स अ सेंस ऑफ बैलेंस रिदम इन माय लाइफ. Then there is unconscious mind, वो iceberg. I do not know that I do not know. No physical or psychological direct connect is there with that. And that is where a guru is required. What Dr. Gopinath said, Professor R.P. Singh said, and all other scholars said, you have a guru and they'll be able to tell you that you can know what you do not know. And what Sadhguru said, that if you can do your inner engineering, if you can reach from sthula sharir Annamay, Pranamay, Vijnanamay. Ultimately, if you can reach Anandamaya Kosh, that's the ultimate sense that you can do it. Can I do it in my one life? That's a big question. And if we have the right guru, we can. Those who are not attached to the external sense of pleasures realize divine bliss in oneself. Being united with the Almighty through yoga, they experience eternal happiness. The activities of the world will continue, but to achieve ultimate satisfaction is to be connected with that power. And that comes from looking inwards and not with the physical pleasures of outside. And to end my sense of saying is that पाप बुद्धि और धर्म बुद्धि वाली जो पंचतंत्र की कहानी है, if you read that, it very amply explains that even if one is a पाप बुद्धि and trying to extract from a good buddhi like all of us, it is the पाप बुद्धि that will suffer ultimately. And the sense of happiness and emotions is studied across the planet. The three aspects of physical, psychological, psychosocial part of it, and the conscious unconscious world are part of it. We all need to possibly understand. And I like what Professor Gopinath said, is that the sense of awareness, the more and more workshops we do, the more we talk to people, the more masses we make aware of, better is the realization of consciousness, better is the realization of equality of all the emotions, and how do you balance all the emotions and gain towards a rhythm of happiness, create that sense of balance in life, and that would be true sense of happiness through a conscious and unconscious state of mind. Thank you so much. I finished my presentation. If there are any questions,
Thank you, Dr. Rajpurohit for this wonderful presentation. So I have something very interesting to share with you, that we often, when we meet people, we present our theological ideas. We quote about armies, selfless dedication. So when they go on fighting with the enemies, they don't even think what will happen or not happen when they are already dead. They simply focus on the order that is being given to them. So that is known as completely forgetting oneself. So I also give some example of karma, like killing is a crime in our nation, but you are killing and you are being awarded. So this is what we are saying. If you are cooking rice, dal, sabji for yourself, that is sin. But you are cooking for Krishna, offering him, that is yajna. So that is the principle, So we are following. So we are giving this example. So your presentation is very wonderful, very nice. So I am requesting the audience, if they have any questions, please ask. Anybody have any questions?
Sir, our idea is die to live. If you want to live, then you have to die. Other thing is that you talked about happiness, but nobody thinks actual happiness means when the self is negated for the satisfaction of the higher. So we think we are the center of our happiness, but in truth we are meant to dedicate and work for the satisfaction of the highest. Then automatically we will be happy.
yes, sir, very well said. I'll only add on to say that die to kill. ये प्रिंसिपल उस जमाने में सही था जब हम गुलाम थे, कि मैं मरने को तैयार हूं लेकिन अपने देश को आजाद करवाऊंगा. देश की आजादी के बाद में आई हैव बीन प्रोपेगेटिंग. मैं ये हमेशा इसको हर जगह कहना चाहता हूं और आपकी ऑडियंस में भी कहना चाहता हूं कि आज की तारीख में मुझे अपने देश को बनाने के लिए मरने की जरूरत नहीं है. हम ऑलरेडी आजाद हैं. अब हमें दुश्मन को मारने की जरूरत है, खुद को जिंदा रखने की जरूरत है, ताकि हम अपने भारतवर्ष को महान देश बनाएं. We don't die to kill. We kill to make progress. That's part one of what you said. The second is, the self is negated and therefore we need to go up to a higher level. Yes, absolutely. Going to the higher level is dedicating to somebody else. But the realization starts from within. जब ये realization मुझ में आने लगेगा, मेरा self improvement अपने आप होने लगेगा और मेरा dedication to the God Almighty or to the world or to the society will increase. I hope that partially answers your query, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Balram Singh.
Dr. Purohit, what a pleasure to hear you. One observation I have been making and I have heard that when the person is near death, anybody and everybody only deals with the truth. That realizes the truth. This is accepted in most of the countries. The dying declaration, dying statement is taken as the truth by the courts. So now, since you have been talking about dying before your retirement and after your retirement, what do you think of that? Is there really some reality in terms of consciousness? The consciousness is really evolved at that point, or it just appears to you right then. I mean, you means anybody. I think this happens to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Balram. What a wonderful question. I'm obliged that you asked this question. Thank you so much. आप तो स्वयं गुरु स्वरूप है. And thank you. When you say near-death experiences, if you read Daniel Goleman, if you read the rebirth, if you read the past life regressive therapies, उनमें बहुत सारी कहानियां सिंपल लोगों की दे रखी है. मैं आपको अपनी कहानी बताता हूँ. जो नियर डेथ और नियर डेथ एक्सपीरियंस और वो कॉन्शियस और अनकॉन्शियस की कहानी मैं सुनाता हूँ सर. मैं सेकंड लेफ्टिनेंट था फौज के अंदर. मेरे को भर्ती हुए 32 दिन हुए थे. यंग सेकंड लेफ्टिनेंट. माय एज वाज 20 एंड हाफ और 20 के बीच में थी. मैं पुंछ के उड़ी के इलाके में लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पर अपनी यूनिट के साथ लगा हुआ था. और मेरे सोल्जर्स और जब हम रात को ड्यूटी दे रहे थे, सडनली बहुत सारी गोलियां चली और हमारे ऊपर जब वो गोलियां आई और मुझे खबर मिली कि मेरे उस सेक्शन पोस्ट मतलब 10 जवानों की पोस्ट थी कि वहां पर दुश्मन ने फायर किया, अटैक किया है और एक के पेट में गोली लगी है, एक के घुटने में गोली लगी है और भागो. जब मैं दूसरे रास्ते से भाग करके वहां पहुंचता बहुत गोलियां आती है. तो मैं एक डेड को तो मैं अपने साथ में गोदी में लेके बैठा था, उसका पेट बांध करके, और दूसरे जिसको घुटने में गोली लगी थी उसको हम फर्स्ट एड पट्टी जो बोलते हैं लगा करके बैठ रहे हैं, किसी तरह मैं इसको जिंदा नीचे लेता हूं. ना उन बंदों का जो नियर डेथ एक्सपीरियंस है वो मुझसे बेहतर मेरे ख्याल से और कोई नहीं बता सकता. दूसरा, जब मैं सियाचिन में था 21,500 फीट, 5 साल की सर्विस, यंग कैप्टन, हाइट के मुताबिक मैं 21,500 भगवान के सबसे नजदीक था. लेकिन कॉन्शियसनेस स्पिरिचुअलिटी में मेरे ख्याल से बहुत दूर था, क्योंकि मैं सबको समझता नहीं. लेकिन जब दुश्मन के गोले ऊपर आके गिरे और वो सैकड़ों सालों की बर्फ के ऊपर जब 120 mm का या 130 mm का गोला गिरता है और 5 फुट नीचे खड्डा करता है और आपके साइड में गोला गिरता है, यू आर क्लोज टू डेथ प्रोफेसर बलराम. और वो मैंने एक्सपीरियंस किया है. जब मैं गोला गिरा और मैंने बर्फ के अंदर जमीन डाली, -30 का टेम्परेचर था और मुझे 200% एश्योरेंस था कि बॉस अब इस खड्डे से बाहर नहीं निकलेगा. लग गए गोले. और 10 मिनट बाद जब मैं बाहर निकलता हूं, देखता हूं यार मेरे हाथ पांव है, हरकत है थोड़ी सी. वो जो एक्सपीरियंस है ना, इट इज नियर डेथ एक्सपीरियंस. मुझे तब फिलॉसफी का पी भी नहीं मालूम था, साइकोलॉजी का पी नहीं मालूम था, लेकिन वो जो मैंने एक्सपीरियंस किया उसने मुझे जीना सिखाया. Live in the present, and if you have to live, you have to kill your enemy, whether external enemy or your inner enemy. You have to kill that enemy, then only you can survive. और ये जो नियर डेथ एक्सपीरियंस है, ये मैं किसी और को, मैं हम्बली हाथ जोड़ के मैं बहुत जगह बोलता भी नहीं। आज आपने वो टीवी लगा दी तो मैं उस बात को शेयर कर रहा हूं कि मैंने कभी नहीं सोचा था कि मैं वापस आ पाऊंगा। और उस मोमेंट जो होता है, कहता है ईश्वर अब तू ही है। तब मैं आई वॉज ए नॉन बिलीवर, और उसके बाद में जो चेंजेस आते हैं, दे आर ट्रांसेंडेंटल चेंजेस, एंड दैट एक्सपीरियंस आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ अस need not go through that experience to realize that, but these teachings from all of you eloquent scholars that you all are, आप सभी से सीख करके हम पूरे देश में इस बात को फैला सकते हैं। I hope that partially answers Balram sir.
जी, only partially.